welcome. My name is Kelly.
My name is Jamie.
And this is Fanimated, an animation fan podcast where we get a chance to geek out about our favorite animated media. We are back today. Jamie and I, the terrible duo, is back to talk about the Trauma House.
Is this like, at a certain point, we're doing this one for the Owl House part, I guess this would be part 3, for Fanimated. At a certain point, there's gonna be a part 4. Like, has there been anything on Fanimated that has gone in, like Star Wars episodes? One will pop up, and then a length of time will pass before another one suddenly appears.
Honestly, I don't think the only other topic that I think we've talked about for this long is How to Train Your Dragon.
Ooh, there you go. Okay.
And that's because the entire franchise, because I am obsessed.
Right.
But even then, by the time that the Owl House is over, we'll have talked, I'm sure, for more hours than we've talked about How to Train Your Dragon on this show. Also, that usually would be like a year in between episodes. We've talked about the Owl House consistently.
Yep.
For a few months.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be like, we're gonna have more. This sounds really sad. We're gonna have more like minutes of us talking about the Owl House than the entire run of season 3.
Yes, honestly, I think we might already have that.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because that's only going to be like 2 hours total, and we've already hurtled over that.
I mean, the first Owl House episode is 3 hours long. Jamie and I talk about the show for 3 hours.
It's really because y'all, if you go back and if you listen to just the beginning of that one, there's a bit where Kelly says as a joke, "Oh, so if you look down, you see that this episode is 3 hours long, and it's exactly 180 minutes. It's so wild. I cannot believe that happened." After editing and everything, it was just like, this is perfect. Boop.
Yeah, it landed perfectly, so no complaints. I do highly recommend you go back and listen to Jamie and I's conversation about the Owl House.
That was so fun.
And thanks to them, both of those episodes were awesome. And give you an idea of A, what's happening in this show, and B, what's happening to us as we watch this show.
Right. the perils and troubles that we're enduring to get through, to struggle through.
Yeah, exactly. It'll give you some context for this episode here. Of course, spoiler warning for all of the Owl House up through For the Future, which is our topic for today. So if you haven't seen the show, be warned. We're here to talk about the latest Owl House episode, For the Future, the second to last episode of the entire show.
Oh, that is weird to think about.
Wild. I've brought a box of Girl Scout cookies and my blanket to get me through this trying time.
I don't feel as much as like I have passed through the dark night of the soul like I did after Thanks to Them.
I would agree, yeah.
Like, it's not as just soul crushing. I think it's still as good because there's so much about it that I absolutely loved, but it didn't like punch me in the gut the way that the first one did, which honestly is kind of nice.
You know what? I feel like Thanks to Them had more weight and because like
I would agree with that.
We had spent so much more time leading up to it fandom wise, right? In real time. We had more time, more months to ruminate on things.
That's true.
And I feel like that helps in creating more of a hype and just more of a anticipation and suspense for what's actually happening to these kids. And I just feel like the ending of season 2 was such a huge, heavy, sad and depressing beat to end on that going into Thanks to Them was just like, oh wow, they are already so low. And I will admit, like the content of Thanks to Them, I mean, it's Halloween themed, so of course it's like it's spooky and scary and possession and it's terrifying. But yeah, we're talking about For the Future, where we last left our kids. Yeah. They were going through the portal back to the demon realm after Hunter had been possessed and in his possession killed Flapjack, R.I.P.
Oh my goodness.
Still reeling about that one.
I'm not ever going to get over that.
Never. And neither, it seems, is Hunter, but we'll get to that.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, no. And so the whole gang and Camila, Luce's mom, went through the portal. And that was it. We didn't see what was happening in the demon realm yet. And For the Future starts literally with Luce in between the two portals before being kind of helped along to the demon realm. And so this whole episode is about the kids like finding what actually faces them in the demon realm, finding out about the collector and what the collector has been doing this whole time with their crazy powers, and also following Bellows as he has also returned to the demon realm and what he is up to. So that's kind of the context for the Future.
And we, just like you were talking about with the build up before, thanks to them, of like, because back then it was like, what's going to happen to the kids? Where is the story going to go from here? Before this one, we had a lot of questions answered, but the big one that we still had was we still have not seen the Boiling Isles in a long time. So we have no idea how much has changed, what's going on over there. And now we are finally getting the big answer to that of like what the collector has done since the end of season 2. And this episode focused a ton on like how much has everything changed since then. We finally get to see it. We finally get to see all of the Boiling Isles characters. We finally get to see how they've been surviving since then.
Yes.
And I kind of love every part of it, I think. I kind of just... It delivered... it's not that I wasn't expecting it to deliver. It's more like, I think in my head I just didn't think anything could reach the level of thanks to them, and I was afraid that there could be some parts that would be a letdown, and I'm pretty sure nothing was. I was really delighted with every part of the world building they've set up. The introduction, the kids moving through it, the interlude at the middle at the school, how it ended. I was so happy with everything.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like, I truly, thanks to them, was so epic that I didn't think we'd be able to match that.
Right.
Either. And honestly, thanks to them and For the Future do have different vibes for sure. But For the Future is just as good, if not better, ?
It was so delightful.
So well done. I think... Thanks to them, I love the spooky mystery vibe. So I think that one is my favorite so far this season. But For the Future, I swear, it just like plays like a fanfic.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that, yeah.
Because I'm like, all of these points that all of these like fanfic authors and just people online are discussing about Willow or about Bellows and Philip and Caleb stuff and like all this stuff, and I'm like, it seriously, it just felt like reading all of the online fan-made content from the past few months, except it was real. I was like, this is amazing.
Like brought to life and,
yes.
and animated and with the music behind it and everything, and like,
oh, fantastic!
People
music.
Were shockingly accurate with everything they theorized. It's kind of amazing.
Yes. And personally, I feel like the biggest thing, just jumping into this like topic, the biggest thing for me that we learned in For the Future, for me, was the fact that the collector really is just a sad baby child.
Right.
Because remember, going into this, we had like 1 second, of screen time with the collector, just like seeing the epic power coming from the collector. But we didn't really know the true, motivations or the true, like, the connections. And we still have some questions on that. But, like, in general, this episode has solidified that the Collector really is just a child and is just, doing what they want because they're a child and they don't know better, and they just want to play. And there's like still so many unanswered questions with that, but like that for me was one of the biggest takeaways. Was like, oh, I can root for the Collector. The Collector isn't evil necessarily, or like not trying to be, like, doesn't have ill intent, but
I would agree with that.
I think just doesn't, I think instead of a refusal of having empathy, it is just a lack of awareness.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
it sure seems that way now. Yeah.
Yeah, the Collector doesn't really understand empathy and doesn't understand what they're doing is wrong. Doesn't necessarily have a moral code, just like a child wouldn't before they learn.
Yep. Yep.
So that's kind of how I see the Collector. And it really helps solidify that, oh yeah, no, Bellows is still the big bad of this show, which helps me because, like, I think that was one of my criticisms of introducing the Collector, is that Bellows has always been the big bad, and now you're introducing a new one, which seems pretty, like, don't throw Bellows under the bus. But now I'm like, oh no, Bellows has been solidified as the big bad. The Collector is just another tool that he's going to use to achieve what he wants.
Right. And like the season 2 finale of the Collector seemingly just wrecking him, just like absolutely no problem, you're gone. While that is still a huge impactful moment, it's kind of nice to see, like, okay, that wasn't just the big villain of the entire show has been completely removed by a new guy. Like, it's good to know that is not what happened,
Yes.
And I really like what you said about, like, the way we're getting more empathy for the Collector, because, like, the perspective we had on him before this was, like, a lot of the focus was on how he was childish, but in kind of a childish, but only through the lens of, like, he has an incredible amount of power and is careless with it. Like, we had that perspective of, I'm going to move the sun. I'm going to destroy this guy because he was mean to me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tear apart this wherever they were. Like, I think they were in the skull. He just, like, rips it apart with no effort, right? We had that side of him, but we did not have a side of him that we have now, which is, like, he can feel lonely. He can be scared of, like, some of the lore stuff we learned from that book. It genuinely seems to freak him out.
For sure.
He cares about having friends, even if he doesn't really get what having friends means.
Yes.
But it's important to him.
Yes.
And he is very, very scared and angry at the thought of his friends betraying him. So, like, there are elements of his character that we didn't know about before that paint such a fuller picture now and help us realize, like, okay, King is on the money when he says, I think I can relate to him and I think I can help him understand. Essentially, when he's saying, I don't think we need to treat him as, like, this impossible malevolent force that needs to be killed. Like, when he's like, no, I want to try to reach out to him and help him.
Yeah, like, we can Steven Universe this. Like,
yeah. And, like, because of what we see of how the Collector acts, we kind of get that, and we're like, oh, he's actually right. And that makes everything Bellows is doing even worse.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
I am a Bellows fan.
Yeah,
because I think Bellows is a fantastic villain. A fantastic. With a capital F. I am just surprised and delighted and terrified and horrified. But
right.
Delighted by the route that this episode has taken. Because I even made a prediction in our last episode that, we're kind of done with Widowbane stuff. And we probably won't get any backstory. Lo and behold, Caleb shows up as a freaking ghost.
Did anyone have on their bingo card Ghost Caleb? That was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
amazing. Again, one of the reasons this feels like a fanfic.
Yeah.
That Caleb shows up out of nowhere, doesn't say a single word, and is just like, it almost seems like Caleb is tormenting Belos, and whether or not it's real, a real ghost, a real like spirit, or if it's like just in Belos's head, which honestly would be even better if like Philip is like traumatized by his own actions and is just like whatever.
Yeah.
Seeing his dead brother everywhere.
Like the fifth or sixth way at this point that he is like losing his mind. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's totally losing his marbles. It's fantastic. I love it. Because it just makes him so much more terrifying and like, who knows what he's going to do next kind of thing. And he's desperate. He doesn't have the power he had before. He's spends this whole episode basically just scurrying around trying to find a host because his body's falling apart and he needs to possess something else. And he, like, again, fanfic. He goes to where the Grimwalkers are made. That was like truly all of my dreams have been realized. That we got to see this place. The fact that he tried to inhabit the body of another Grimwalker, and I was so hoping that we'd have confrontation.
Right?
Oh my gosh, I think I would have died.
It's the kind of fake out that was done so well that I'm actually a little bit disappointed that the fake thing didn't happen.
I know.
Because I love where the episode went instead, but also like, gall, can you imagine if the squad had to fight another body that looks just like Hunter? Like,
I would like...
That'd be insane.
I would go crazy. I would be like, I don't know, just the whole Grimwalker situation is just so fascinating to me. I love it. I love everything about it. It's like terrifying and haunting and like wonderful.
I'm also kind of surprised that they were able to show that scene like in all of its detail. I can't believe Disney was cool with that. There's like rotting flesh dripping off of bones and stuff. Like it's
terrifying.
It's really a nightmare. Yeah.
It's dark. It is dark. Yeah. And I was just like, this is fantastic. Because it's so terrifying. So, and because Belos, just being able to like see that was crazy. It just like completely, you're just raising, I don't know, every scene like that just makes Belos that much more terrifying.
He wrote glyphs on the wall with his own decomposing flesh. Like, this is a Disney show. This is, my man like walked up to the stone wall, like threw his body that is falling apart and used it like a pencil to do a magic spell that would let him possess a dead body, and that entire scene played out in like full graphic detail, and everyone at Disney was like, yeah, this tracks, ship it, let's do it. I can't believe that. But to
have like a same-sex couple kiss, not allowed.
Yeah, that's the thing they actually had to fight for. Yeah.
I know. It boggles my mind.
Oh my
Disney
goodness.
is crap. Okay, moving on. And to end, the talk of Belos here, or at least for now, like, and I know we're jumping to the end, but basically, Belos finding a host in Rain, top tier, 10 out of 10. This is angst, and I love it.
Who saw that coming? Who would have predicted this?
No one. It's out of left field, but it makes sense.
Yes. And I think this is one of the rare times where you don't need foreshadowing for it. Because, like, as soon as it happens, you are not immediately thinking, like, oh, there was no build-up to that, or there was no foreshadowing. You are more thinking, oh, this could ruin everything. Like, this has so much more potential than if he had gone after Odalia. Because, like, the framing and the camera work of the scene makes it seem like that's what he's going to do. Because we all already hate Odalia, and it, like, feels narratively like, oh, yeah, he would take the character everyone hates. But, like, to fake you out and go to Rain instead is... It's the biggest twist of the episode, if not season 3 so far. Like, it's it's awesome. And the design. Why are all of the possessed designs so darn cool?
They're all super cool, yeah.
It's horrifying. Don't get me wrong.
Apparently everyone looks better with a mullet, I guess.
Apparently everyone looks better when they're evil.
Oh,
he does give everyone mullets, doesn't he? Huh?
Yes, he does. And
man.
the angst potential with Rain and Ida now is through the roof, and it's gonna be so heartbreaking. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
There's really only 3 couples that everyone in this fan community wants or wanted to happen. One of them happened. The other one, we're finally getting there. It's pretty much definitely has happened. And this is the third one that everyone wants. And now it feels even more tenuous than ever because we don't know if they're both even going to survive episode 3. We don't know.
Honestly. I can still see someone dying before the end of the show.
Yeah. And before this, I don't think I would have put Rain or Ida on that list, but now, oh boy.
Watch out. Here we go.
Things are in a dangerous territory. But also just purely from a narrative standpoint, this is such a great way to get Rain back in the spotlight. Because they were very much a non-player in this episode up until this point, because so many people had been turned into dolls, right? So it's really hard to have a character who's been totally sidelined be an important plot point, or be important to the plot rather. And now all bets are off. Anything can happen from this point. It's so scary. Yeah.
and now Bellows is in this perfect position. And it's interesting too because last Fanimated episode we talked about Owl House. You even predicted, Bellows is going to possess the Collector. And I'm like, he did try. He tried to possess the Collector, and that didn't happen. But the second best thing is Bellows has manipulative control over the Collector again.
Yes. He did all of his usual nonsense. I really wanted to use a stronger word in that sense. He did all his usual nonsense to yet again, it's a character who's effectively a child. And he is so good at messing with people's heads because he has manipulated Lilith and other characters before, but it especially hurts when it's a kid who doesn't have the full mental faculties to realize what he's doing. That happened with Hunter, that happened with Luz, it's happening with the Collector. And he's 100% preying on the fear of loneliness, friends rejecting the Collector. He essentially took one look at the Collector's whole deal and was like, I can use this, which is so sad and so frustrating. But just like you said, it really sets up the status quo of Bellows is once again the biggest threat in play right now.
Absolutely.
And he has turned the Collector into he's turned the Collector into the cataclysm of episode 3. He's whatever the Collector is about to do, that very last shot with the snapping fingers, right? That is 100% because of Bellows. And it just makes things even more fraught and even more what is gonna happen? I think right after you had the opportunity to watch it just shortly before I did, and you texted when you were finished with the episode. You just wrote oh no, this is really bad.
Yes, everyone's always in trouble by the end of the episode, it definitely is the case here because the Collector is now actually upset at King and believes that King is betraying him, which is not true. He now is being Bellows is again manipulating him, whispering in his ear. Just the fact that Bellows is back and in Rain's body, the Collector just has all of the power here, and I just don't know how they're going to be able, or how, I just don't know what this ending is going to look like, because this is this still could have kind of a Steven Universe ending of let's be friends with everybody and calm down, but I definitely can see like there's got to be some sort of big fight happening, but also how is that going to work when when the collector is just so much more powerful than anybody.
I feel confident that they are going to be able to get. We're going straight into predictions now. I apologize, but like I'm confident they are going to be able to get through to him because for the future, this one focused so much on like his loneliness. Their lonely. I think the creator has said they, he, so it's all good. Like with the book and everything, it focused so much on like, oh, he's also the last one, you know? Like he's also someone who felt like he couldn't couldn't relate to anyone, couldn't like really doesn't someone who doesn't know what their identity is because there's no one to like help them have any kind of a community, right? Mm-hmm. But like through the lens of a little kid. And King gets that 100%, and I think that's why it's such a great move to have him be the focal point of so much of the collector stuff.
I also just love King's development, and like he's such a mature little guy right now. It's just fantastic.
Oh my gosh, his little bit where he's like, guys, I think we're worrying too much about how we can defeat the collector or whatever, and we've overlooked like the fact that he is a scared child, and like maybe I have more in common with him than I thought, and I can help him with that. And Ida's response to that is, "You're growing up too fast," and to give him a big hug, because that's so. She's exactly right. Like he is maturing so quickly because he has had to, but also because he's just genuinely a good person. Like,
yes, absolutely.
Oh man, that kills me.
That's so fantastic. Can we shift focus and talk about the amazing, phenomenal, beautiful arc of Miss Willow Park?
Yeah. Oh man.
This is just like, again, this is why this episode is just winning and winning and winning, because then not only did we get Caleb as a ghost, we get Willow like focused character arc, character development. Beautiful. My Emerald Trio, they shine.
Oh yeah. Okay, like the moment she says, like at the beginning of the episode, the moment she says like, or rather Guts says, "You're always looking out for us," and she says, "Well, yeah, someone has to." Like the instant she says that, you're like, I have a pretty clear idea of where this plot is going to go, but it's done so well that, like, I'm delighted all the same. Because it makes perfect sense that, like, gosh, just, she has been the pillar in so many ways. Even though she didn't get a ton specifically to do, and thanks to them, she has still been such a support for everyone. Like, in fact, now that I think about it, she is like, she has a pretty specific relationship with everyone else in the squad.
There's this like thing going around that like Willow is everybody's first friend.
I've seen that. Yes.
And it's like kind of true.
Yeah. It's like not literally the first person that they met that was kind to them, but like the first genuine friendship. Like that definitely checks out for Amity with how fraught their childhoods were, even though it's more complicated. It definitely checks out for Luce, definitely checks out for Gus. You could make the argument that it checks out for Hunter. You're exactly right. Yeah,
before Willow, Hunter had Flapjack. Like, Flapjack is technically his first friend, but you know.
Yeah.
Like, Willow is the one in the group, like, when you have a group of friends and, like, you're all connected by just, like, one person. Like,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
everyone knows so-and-so. Oh, well, everyone knows Willow Park.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Everyone in that group would take a bullet for Willow. Like she 100%. Is the heart, now that I think about it, yeah.
Absolutely she is. And I'm just so glad because like last episode there wasn't enough time to give everyone a ton of like screen time, and to have Willow get so much in this episode was fantastic. We see her struggling with her own emotions. She's not letting herself process them. Her magic kind of, because her magic has always been like a more emotionally tied, and so she loses control of her magic, and she, you know, I think it's just very relatable to like have someone who like is having a lot of intrusive thoughts, negative thoughts, just like negative, like a mental health, and to have someone like Hunter is finally able to kind of break her out of it in like a lot of affirming language, and just like having Gus and Hunter be there for her no matter what.
Yeah, it's just like Gus said when at the end he's like, reliable people need someone to rely on too. Because
Yes.
like the entire thing of like, I'm going to push away the things that I'm having trouble with because I need to be strong for the other people around me. It's not like it's the context isn't 100% relatable because not everyone is going through like some horrific trauma with their friends and feels the need to take care of them before they take care of themselves. But that impulse, I think, is super relatable of like, other people's problems are more important than mine. Mine are not that big a deal. I can handle it. I'm just going to push on through and focus on everyone else. Like that I get, man. That is so hard to deal with. And it's really painful to watch it, but it is so like joyful and hopeful and, just like you said, affirming to see it play out in like things almost going wrong, but then the people that she can depend on stepping up and being like, you are allowed to feel these things, and that is okay, and you haven't done anything wrong, you are trying your best. Like, oh my gosh, it's so good, and I feel so happy to see it play out, because I don't know, man. If I was a kid and I was watching this show, that would stick with me. That would be like, I can't overstate how important it is to see characters go through mental health struggles and be shown like positive, inclusive ways of dealing with that. It means so much. And like, oh, man, like, I'm not happy that it happened to her because she's great and I don't want her to suffer, but
yeah. But considering what they've all been through, of course they have some things to work through, and they need to give themselves the space and time to do that. And Willow is realizing she does have a safe space in, you know, her friends, where she can be vulnerable and open, and she doesn't have to be everyone else's pillar. Like, you can hold each other up. Yeah. It doesn't just have to be one person.
Absolutely. And like, even, you know, honestly, even the specific thing that she does finally say, like, I'm sure there's more that's on her mind, but the specific thing she says is, I just miss my dad's. And like, even that in itself is like, she has kind of had to, or at least she's felt like she's had to, push that to the side because we're on this big quest, and you got to make sure everybody else is okay, and you got to make sure we can make it to the collector, and you got to make sure that we like all stick together and work on these problems we're getting through. But then she sees one of her dads, and in the first scene where they encounter all the creepy dolls, and like, I feel like that must have just snapped everything right back to the forefront for her, right? Like, once again, she was within reach of one of her parents, and like, then gone, you know? And how awful would that be? How frustrating would it be? How impatient and scared and like anxious would you be when you are once again not able to reach them? And like, it makes perfect sense that this is the episode where everything comes to a head and she finally admits that she can't do this because no one could do that. And that's okay, you know? Like, oh man, this plot is so good and it's so important and wholesome, and it just means a lot to me.
Absolutely.
If Willow doesn't get to hug her dads in episode 3, I'm gonna riot. I'm gonna
my god. I need a lot of reunions next episode.
We haven't gotten any of them yet.
I know, it's
We're
really
still
sad.
not there. Oh my
We're
gosh.
still not there. I need Darius and Hunter.
Oh my
I need
goodness.
Willow and her dads. I need, of course, Ida and King and Luce.
Ida and King and Luce is gonna make everyone cry.
Oh my gosh,
there's
it better.
no question.
It better
it's
make
been
me cry.
such a long time.
Oh,
my goodness.
it hurts. It hurts. Can we talk about Huntlow?
Yes.
Please?
Yes.
Please? Because that's my first note on my notes page is just in all caps, Huntlow, because it's real, y'all.
It's real. It's happening.
It's happening. It's fantastic. It's cutest thing I've ever seen. Everyone just stop. I can't handle it.
You know what I've noticed is this show is really, really good at having absolutely iconic, classic, instantly memorable moments of romantic couples that are not just I love you or a kiss. Like, they're so much more varied and interesting. Everybody remembers
hold pinkies.
The pinky hold. Oh my gosh. That was brutal. Because
that
they're
killed me.
They're so tired and they've been through so much, and when Willow tells him thank you for saying that, you mean a lot to me too. Yes, he does blush, but he also immediately tears up because they've gone through so much crap, and he can't bring himself to do anything other than hold her pinky, and that was so cute.
And it's even their two hands are all bruised and scratched up, and it's just they hold pinkies, and they're there for each other, and it's so satisfying.
But the way this show does the beginnings of romance is so interesting because it's not a romance-based show. It's not the focus of the story or anything. But just little really believable and interesting hints before anything starts. With Amity and Luce, I think it is when they have the paper that says will you go to Grom with me, and the top has been torn off. So, at the very end of the episode, you see that other scrap of paper and it says Luce, right? And, that was such a fun way to do that because it was immediately, this memorable thing. The scene of, oh my gosh, the scene of Ida and Rain playing that song together, even though it had a lot of other plot important stuff, too, it is so beautifully done, and there's so much focus on how they feel about each other without any words at the time that, even though they are still broken up at that point, it feels like a shipping moment. I don't know what else to call it, right?
Yeah.
This show is so good at, genuinely fascinating, creative moments that are more interesting than just someone saying, hey, I like you. And I feel exactly the same way about everything with Hunter and Willow in this episode. When she gives him the photo and he doesn't know how to react, and everyone's like, hey, are you okay? And he says, I don't know. That's brutal. When he saves her later at the end, incredible, impeccable, stupendous. The pinky hold, oh my gosh. This is insane.
Every tiny little moment with him just makes me explode. I just am so happy. Man. I am overjoyed. This whole episode, Hunter, I mean, he was just possessed. He gets back to the demon realm. He's laser focused on finding Bellows. He is also just cranky and kind of annoying. And by the end of the episode, he realizes, oh no, Willow needs help, and so he calms down and actually helps her, takes it away, he was kind of being selfish in a way of just focusing on the thing that he thought was most important and then in the process was kind of disregarding his friends.
Right.
And so I just really love that it was Hunter kind of realizing that and realizing how much Willow is going through and being able to be there for her, and it was really sweet, and it was all of it was just fantastic and beautiful, and I love them, and I squealed, and I rewatched them hold pinkies about 5 million times.
What really gets me about Hunter is that I I think you're exactly right in that he is focused on himself, and I think the thing he is repressing for a lot of the episode is kind of a perfect mirror image of Willow, because what he is holding back from, I mean, he even says it at the end. He says, like, you guys mean the world to me, and I didn't know how to say that. Like, what he is holding back from communicating or expressing is, like, I need you. Like, you collectively, but also you, Willow, right? Like, he is holding back from that because he keeps telling himself, no, we have to focus on Bellows. We have to focus on, like, how dangerous this is. I kind of have to focus on my own pain instead of opening up to people. Like, because he doesn't say a word about the events of Thanks to Them. He does not bring it up. And I think in a grumpier way, that is a reflection of what Willow is doing, because she is, like, convincing herself, I'm not going to talk about what I'm going through because the more important thing is to help everyone else. So, like, it's different, but they are similar, right? And I have to wonder if Hunter seeing how much that is hurting Willow is what kind of, I mean, just like what you said, him realizing, like, the thing I need to do, not only to resolve this immediate situation and help my friends, but also to, like, resolve what he said earlier of, like, Flapjack, I don't know what to do. Everyone is on edge and I don't know what to say. Like, the thing I need to do to resolve that is to be honest, right? And, like, that is so... Okay. So here's the thing, right? I'm pivoting a little bit. In the middle of the episode, Willow shows him that picture, and they try to give him a really uplifting speech about, like, we don't care who you were supposed to be. You're part of our group now, and we care about you. And it doesn't have the effect they thought it would. He looks even more freaked out and kind of distraught. And they're like, are you okay? And he's like, I don't know. And Willow says, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to make things worse. And then she runs off. And, like, that kickstarts a whole bunch of other scenes and a whole bunch of plot stuff. And there's these crazy action scenes. It's a whole thing to round out the climax of the episode, right? So it's like a full 20 minutes later, many scenes later, Hunter does the crazy magic Flapjack thing where he saves her, which is incredible. We'll have to talk about that more.
Please.
The first thing he says is, you didn't make anything worse. So he's been holding on to that this entire time.
Oh.
He's been holding on to that for, like, 8 scenes.
Buddy.
And he's just like, I need to let you know that you didn't make things worse. You're not doing anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to hear you beat yourself up and call yourself these names that like other people have used to try to put you down, because that's not true. And, like, oh man, that part made me start crying too, because, like, he's so, in the moment, he's so, like, I know I not only need to physically get this person I care about out of danger, but I need to make sure that she doesn't keep thinking of herself in this negative way, because, again, it is not true. And, like, come on, man.
It's,
like,
too good.
I expected that maybe they would, like, admit that they care about each other, but I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting it to be this, like, just heart-wrenching. It's, oh, man.
It's like, stuff like this means even more than the I love you spiel.
Yes. See, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Exactly. And, like, circling back to the Flapjack powers, I think it's really cool that it's not until he's thinking about other people, thinking about Willow, that it activates, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And so now he has his teleportation, his signature teleportation magic.
Oh, man, am I glad they kept that. Because not only is it the coolest looking and sounding move in the show, but it works so well narratively, and it just, like, it's so... because he's a part of him. Like, of course he is. Oh, man.
I want to know, though, if now Hunter can do magic, like, with a circle like everyone else, or if he still can't do that. Like,
that's interesting, yeah.
I wouldn't mind if he couldn't, because if maybe the teleportation is kind of his only, like, power or whatever. Just because, like, I also think that's kind of just part of his identity, too, of, like, you know, being kind of disabled in that way. Not to say that I would want him to, you know, have a harder time, but just that, like, I don't know. It's just such a part of his like how I picture him, I guess, of like he needs a staff to work this magic. Like, I guess maybe part of it is that I want him to I want to make sure that in the epilogue sequence we get him like making a new talisman for himself, and I want him to have a staff.
Man,
and I feel like if he could do all the magic stuff, maybe he wouldn't. I don't know.
Okay. The fan theory I keep seeing is that if he does end up carving a new talisman, it's going to be a wolf, and if that's the case, I would sob.
It better be, because that's what's true in my mind.
Oh man, no, but like I like the idea of him not needing the kind of magic everyone else has, because like from the beginning, his story and his identity and the things he needs to overcome. Like, yes, he did think of himself as like, oh, I'm a powerless witch, and I need to be grateful to Bellows for taking me in. Like, that is what he believed, but I don't think his story is leading to, now I have magic, and that fixes the problem. Like, I don't think that's where we're going, you know? So, like, I'm kind of on your side. I like the idea of him just having this, because Flapjack is such an important part of who he is, and, like, that's it. You know, because like that is his thing, and normal witch magic that everyone else has is not. At least in my opinion, yeah.
I would agree. I would agree.
I can't believe this. The beginning of the episode, I cannot believe they actually did this, because just like you said, this is so fan fiction. They gave him like, I don't know how else to describe it, but a PTSD trigger response when he hears birds chirping. That's so brutal. Like, what a sad and mature thing to put in this story. And like, I don't know if every kid is going to pick up on that, because it is kind of subtle, but like, oh, that hurts. That hurts, man.
A lot, yeah. It's so well done. Everything is so well done. And this also, like, just leading in all the stuff with Bellows and Hunter and everything, like, another prediction and a hope, I guess, is that we do get some really fantastic conclusion to all of that, because that's one of my favorite things about the show is the whole Bellows, Widobane, Hunter catastrophe. And I just, like, I don't know what I need, but I have faith that they can conclude it all satisfactorily, and like I hope so, at least. Like,
yeah. God, I just hope there's time. What's interesting that I'm thinking about now for Hunter and Bellows is that like they haven't actually spoken more than a line to each other in a very long time. 'Cause like they were fighting at the end of season 2, but they spoke to each other very little, maybe like one line each. They never directly
it was the infamous Caleb line.
Yes, exactly. They never directly talked to each other in Thanks to Them, unless you count Hunter's speech at the end when he's possessed, right? There has been so little opportunity for them to actually be standing in the same room, like having a confrontation. They kind of did at the season 2 finale, but like I want something. I'm not sure what it is. I want like they are so, their story, particularly the two of them, is so like just rife with emotion that I want them to, I don't know, like that has to conclude somehow, you know? And like obviously Bellows has hurt everyone, and everyone else is also going to be there, but like I don't know, man. It's gonna be rough. Whatever happens.
Whatever happens is gonna be epic, I'm sure. Okay, we've been putting this off. We need to talk about the star of the show. We need to talk about String Bean.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, we do. Yeah,
and Loose, yes.
Right. Our new MVP, String Bean.
Yeah. I'm just so satisfied with how this turned out, with Camila being such a big part of the story. Man. Like
yes.
like Camila is what helps like string bean hatch and for Luce to realize what she wanted. And just the fact, like, this is one of the best moments of the whole entire show so far for me, is like the moment when Luce realizes all she really wanted was to be understood. And I cried, and I cried, and I cried.
That it has clearly made such an impact on just about everyone, because I see fan art after fan art after fan art of that moment specifically. People love String Bean. People love Huntlow. People love a lot of the stuff, but Luce in that moment realizing, like, oh, this is actually what I needed, has made such an impact with people, and, like, that's really beautiful. That means so much, like, because I don't know if I'm the most, like, I might not be the most qualified to talk about this, but, like, I love the idea that for all you can try to figure out about, like, how to make yourself a better person and how to move forward in your life and how to, like, for all of that, sometimes what you genuinely need is other people to reach out to you, and, like, that means a lot. That is it's something I hadn't really considered before this, because I would have thought, like, how does Luce need to move forward and wrap up her difficulties and her issues? She needs to realize da-da-da, or she needs to learn da-da-da, or she needs to grow in X way. And, like, didn't really slip my mind that Camila would be the answer. I feel a little silly for not considering that. Like, because she's her parent. That's, like, it's kind of part of the job, is to, like, help her. And that is such a sweet moment that I hadn't fully thought through before, you know?
It's beautiful. Camila is, like, amazing. 10 out of 10, 5 stars. And now that I'm thinking about it, like, putting the Willow arc and the Luce arc together right now, it really is kind of this whole episode looking at, you need other people in your life. Like, you know, you need that support from other people. And that's what helps you forward. And, like, wow. I love this show. I love this show so much.
Man, I'm so glad that, like, the reveal of the Talisman landed on such an emotional beat, because one purely because it was just great, and I love how things have improved a lot for Luce, and it is so nice to see her smiling and upbeat and happy again, because Lord knows it's been a while. But also because the Talisman thing has been built up for so long that there was a real risk it wouldn't deliver, like, if they didn't nail it, you know? And they just did such an incredible job of landing where it is in the story, the emotion of it, what it personally means to Luce. And also, let's just throw it out there, a great design and a really fun idea for a Talisman.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, a shape-shifting snake?
That's
yes,
so
please.
good. Yeah.
Fantastic. Because, like, just like Luce said, like, I honestly don't know why people didn't think of this before. Because Luce even said, like, I want them to choose who they want to be. And, of course, it's a shape-shifting snake. Okay.
This is such a great way of getting out of the creative corner you've written yourself into of, like, everyone has been speculating for months and months and months. We've put it off for many, many episodes. What could it possibly be? What could possibly match up to the fans' expectations? Like, no one thing. Like, this is like the best possible way to get out of that situation of, like, hey, we had no reason to think it couldn't be something that changes shape. Like, bam, there we go. That fits Luce's personality so well of, like, I don't want to be pigeonholed into one specific thing that other people have decided for me. Like, that fits so perfectly. Yeah, oh my goodness. And she's just adorable, and everyone loves her immediately.
Fantastic, wonderful. I'm so excited. I just love it. I love it. Oh man.
That was so great. And, like, the ambiance of the scene itself and the music and, like, Camila realizing that, one, she had not fully expressed to Luce, I am proud of you and I support you no matter who you are, who you choose to be, and I shouldn't have tried to push you away from who you are. she's realizing that, one, she had not communicated that before, and two, that she had not really been able to communicate, hey, it's okay to mess up and you don't need to be afraid of failing all the time. Especially, like, failing your friends who love you and care about you and don't hold all these things against you like you think they do. Like, her being able to communicate both of those messages is... it is medicine for my soul. It is just magnificent. Truly. Oh my goodness.
Truly. Absolutely fantastic.
Real quick, this is not the most important part of the episode. It is not the most fascinating or in-depth or like super deep thoughts. Kikimora. So the decision to, like, we have so little time left in this show, right? What are we going to do for kind of like a medium antagonist for getting out of the Hexside set piece and into the finale of the episode, right? We're going to have Kikimora come back. We're going to give her the exact opposite of her redemption arc. We're going to make her so unlikable in the goofiest way that killed me, because Luce reacts to her with so much disappointment. She, instead of being scared, she's just like, "Oh, not you." It's like, this makes me so happy. I can't believe that, like, this is what we're doing right now. But in the best way, because this show has had such a focus on making Hunter more likable, making a lot of the school bullies more likable, Amity's entire change of heart, that it is so funny to have, like, nah, Kikimora just sucks. Everyone hates her. Like, she throws them into the detention pit, and she jumps down it, and she's just like, "I'm going to kill you." Which shouldn't be funny, but, like, at this point, she's just so patently ridiculous. I burst out laughing when she was like, "I'm gonna take care of you myself." You're pointing a laser gun at a bunch of 14-year-olds. What are you doing?
What are you doing with your life?
What is this? I was sobbing. That was so funny to me. Yeah, at this point I'm just covering the last couple random things that I really liked about the world building of the new Boiling Isles, right? Like,
right.
How weird and surreal things have gotten now.
Yes.
The collector's dolls, I think, are a great way of showing consequences, even if they are only temporary. Where you can't have a bunch of characters just die, right? Like, that's not this kind of show. But the dolls are so creepy and so genuinely unsettling for the characters to see that, like, I think that was a really good move in terms of, this is super weird and wacky, but also there's a tinge of horror to it. I love that move. I love the weird zombie apocalypse feel of the towns they explore. The graffiti on the Owl House is, like, one of my favorite little bits of weird world building, because I wrote down 3 of them, and I love all of them. One of them says, "There is no Titan," which I find fascinating. I want to talk about that for 20 minutes. The second one says, "Kiss my grass," which is also extremely funny. The third one just says, "Bad word." That just made my day.
I mean, the people working on this show, man,
they're having so much fun.
So much fun.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm really glad that after all of our questions of, like, what is the world going to look like when they come back, it had a really specific identity and vibe and weirdness to it that I wasn't entirely expecting. I love the dichotomy of, like, the crazy vivid colors and, like, the devastation that's happened.
Yes. Like, it's all sparkles and rainbows.
Yes.
But this is the apocalypse.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, which makes perfect sense when you're in a world called the Demon Realm.
Yeah.
That was great. I love the creepy star spies. I love that, like, there's this stupid resistance based in the school that has, like, roving squads of kindergartners. That was it was like Mad Max. It was
fantastic.
It was just,
I could spend a few episodes just in that high school.
Oh my goodness. I I know it wasn't everybody's favorite because it definitely felt like this is not that important. We're just doing this to be funny and weird and like get us to our next plot point. But that said, it was so fun.
I quite enjoyed it too.
The return of Matt Tholomew, who I had to pause the episode because I was texting you, and I stand by this because this is 100% how I feel. I can't believe Matt Tholomew is back. He's the worst character. I love him so much. He's absolutely a garbage person. This is great. I'm having the time of my life. I hate this. And all of that is true. All of that is...
It can all be true at the same time.
Yeah. The reveal that Tholomew is his last name.
Too perfect. Too perfect. Again, this crew is just having a fun time.
Oh my goodness.
My gosh.
I was really... It's just like you said, the school feels like such a fun place. I would not have minded spending even more time there if that was possible. I love the giant statue of the principal doing an ollie on a skateboard. Amity's siblings showing up and it being genuinely emotional, but then also horrifying because her brother's in a full body cast and he's like, I'm gonna hug her anyway.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're great.
So much. I should have said this earlier. How dare the intro make us relive that line from King a third time of I'm so happy that I had you as a big sister. Because
gosh, they're really just rubbing salt in the wound.
Every time it hurts more somehow. It just keeps happening. But we're finally done. We're finally all caught up, and hopefully they won't repeat that at the beginning of the third episode.
No, I think we're done with that, please. Unless it's like Luce wakes up from a nightmare about King.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no. I definitely don't hope that we start with another King saying goodbye. But what are your thoughts and predictions for next episode? What do you want to see before the show ends forever?
Yeah, oh boy. It's so tough because knowing how little time is left, I don't know if I want to focus on a fight or do I want more time for the resolution and some kind of epilogue. I can't decide because like,
honestly, my gut reaction is I definitely want more epilogue time.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Don't get me wrong, I want both. But if I had to choose, give me more of the epilogue.
It's so tough because we've been building up Bellows so much. And like, he's been developing through all these crazy stages of his animosity with the crew. And like, it keeps getting more and more complicated. And now everything is at a fever pitch. The collector is involved. The kids are finally at the thing. Like, it has to be crazy. There's no way it's not going to be crazy. And like, I want enough time to deal with how it goes. I just know that Ida and Rain are going to be a huge part of it too, and Luce is going to be a huge part of it. Hunter is probably going to be a huge part of it. Like, I don't know how they can get through what needs to be the biggest, like the climax of this entire story. I don't know how there is still going to be enough time to show us what things are like after the fact, you know?
You know, I keep thinking that over and over again, but then they turn around and amaze me every single episode with how much they can jam pack into one episode. It's insane. I have absolutely no hesitation that it's going to be a fantastic episode. Not all of our questions will be answered. They just won't. But it will be satisfying. I have no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. God, I don't know.
Honestly, I'm just like, there's too much lore that we aren't going to have answered. Like, I don't know how they're going to, like, really recap all of, like, the Titans and the Collectors and all of that. Like, I feel like there's a lot there that could be explored, but that, I don't know if they'll have a ton of time to actually delve into, but I feel like it's still necessary. We still have the loose thread of the owl beast in general. Where the heck did the owl beast come from? Et cetera, et cetera. Like, there's just a lot of unanswered questions, but I guess I'm just like coming to the... I'm already starting to accept that not all of my questions will be answered, but as long as the main characters right now that I care about have some good, like, satisfying endings, then I will be satisfied.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot that I need to happen for most of the main characters. Like, Gus and Willow, I just want them to find their parents, man. These kids have been through so much. I want some kind of catharsis for Hunter, because, like, it just keeps getting worse for him, you know? Like, I mean, I want something for closure for Bellows. I don't need him to be like, I have the one-liner before we defeat you. I don't know what it would look like. I don't know what's going to happen, but there's got to be something there, right? Luz, I'm not sure, because it feels like this conversation with Camila really helped heal a lot on her mind. So I don't know where things are going to go for her, except, of course, she's got to find Ida and King. Like, it has to happen. I'm so like, heartbroken that it has taken this long. Honestly, I would really love it if somehow Amity could get more screen time. Because she hasn't, you know?
Yeah, she hasn't had her spotlight yet this season.
Yes, exactly. And, like, I know that's really, really tough to do, because the biggest beats of the story have not been directly related to her in season 3.
Yeah.
But if they could somehow find a way, that'd be so fun.
Yeah, like, I'd really love to see more of her, just because right now it kind of feels like, oh, she is the romantic interest and now she's done in kind of a weird way.
Right. That is kind of a frustration, honestly.
Like, she did have a little bit of time this last episode confronting Skara, or not Skara.
Oh, yeah. Basha.
Is that her? Basha, that's it. So there's a little bit of that.
That's right,
for sure.
Yeah.
So maybe that was their attempt to give Amity some screen time.
That's true. She did get to have a fun, like, escape fight scene and everything, yeah. I have a question for you. What do you think Luz saw in the portal at the beginning?
Excellent question, because I was also going to ask you the same thing.
Good. Yeah.
I was really unsure and didn't know until I started, like, of course, reading all the theories online.
Oh, of course.
I will definitely say I'm in the camp that it was somehow King's father or a relative of King, like another Titan, because of the wings and the horns and all that. I feel like, too, that would be kind of the best explanation for all of the lore stuff we do still have to get to. I feel like, having King's father or another Titan there to explain all of that, because the King doesn't know and the Collector doesn't really know or doesn't want to talk about it. So if King's father shows up or some other something, who knows? Again, we're all confused because his father is the corpse that they all live on. So I don't know how that works out. But I think because of that little tidbit at the very beginning of this episode, it gives me hope that some of those lore things will be answered.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What do you think?
I think it has something to do with the Titan, either like the Titan's spirit or whatever, because, like, why would the Titan himself be in a portal world? But, like, that's mostly because I can't think of anything else. like
sure.
The shape, the silhouette is very distinct, even though it was so small and hard to get a read on, but it was clearly not a person or a witch, right? So, like, it's got to be something.
Some kind of demon, even.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, I cannot think of anything else besides... That's a Titan right there. Like, I'm genuinely coming up with a blank. So that sounds the most likely, especially when you added in more details and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they had stuff they needed to get to, but I wish she hadn't dropped it. I wish she hadn't been like, oh, it was probably in my head, because like I want to hear other people's take on it.
I know.
It's like, no,
Definitely
please.
didn't have time to.
Nothing is ever just in your head. It always ends up being important.
Right? Yes. Come on. Why can't TV characters understand?
You are essentially an anime protagonist at this point. You know this.
Come on. Oh man. Well, I'll also say as a prediction, or at least a hope, because I have to say it because I'm such a fan of the Widobane story.
Yeah.
Is that, and because we've seen Ghost Caleb and Ghost Grimwalkers.
Yes.
I would really hope that there is some sort of extra Caleb and or Evelyn and or
right?
Grimwalker flashback / do the ghosts come back again? Or I don't know, just something. It would be cool.
Yes. I'm so torn because the image of him saying nothing was so powerful and so effective. But at the same time, I want to hear him say something. I really, like, you've already got Zena Robinson in the studio. This would not be hard. But
yes, just give Zena Robinson some more Caleb lines. That would be so good. I would cry.
I cannot decide. It's so... I don't know if they did this on purpose, but, like, the way it felt like Shakespeare was very subtle, but also, like, extremely good. I was such a big fan of... Yeah, totally. And, like... he's got like the dagger above his head, which I think is way better than actually seeing it like stuck in him or anything like that. I love the vibe that like, even though it is Hamlet, I also love the vibe that like Bellows is Macbeth in this scenario. I love how just epic and like larger than life the whole situation felt. And
Bellows is Macbeth. Like he is going insane.
Right?
With his own power, he's completely lost sight of his original goals. Like he keeps saying it's for the to save the souls of all these people. It's like no, it's not. You're just going crazy.
And like I think part of the reason I love that bit is because he likes to think like, you can't do anything to me. I'm above all this. Like, I don't care that I'm seeing you as a vision. But it clearly still really affects him to the point that he thinks he needs to justify himself and he needs to yell at him and he needs to, like, try to swipe at him even though it doesn't do anything. He clearly is so tormented by the ghost of his brother. And, like, that is interesting. That is so cool, honestly.
I just can't wait to see more.
I cannot wait.
I can't wait to see more of all of it. And I just want them all to be okay. I don't want any more death, please. Besides Bellows, he can die. That's it. I mean, he's been alive for a few hundred years too long, so I think it's about time.
Also, some would argue not even really super alive right now. It's complicated.
Good argument, yeah.
Honestly, like, this is looking less and less likely, but I still am holding on just a tiny bit of hope for the theory that... Look, it's not likely, but in For the Future, Bellows says, I need a new body, and then the camera pans up to where the collector is, right? However, another way of looking at that is Bellows saying, I need a new body, and then the camera panning up to the Titan skull.
You still want him to somehow...
I'm just saying, it's not off the table. It is.
Okay.
It's not outside the realm of possibility.
Okay, Jamie.
I kind of want... I know last time I said I don't necessarily want it to happen. I think I do want it to happen. Like, is that even possible? Probably not.
I don't think so.
Probably not. But still.
Oh dear.
I'm gonna keep bringing it up until well, this is the last time because after this we'll know for sure. But like,
yeah.
Ugh, man. That is my crack theory. That is the really, really wild one that I'm holding on to just in case.
Just in case. I appreciate that. I appreciate the crazy theory.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, we will find out soon, and that will be the end of the Owl House. And
it's so weird to think about. I'm it's very strange that we're going into the end and the finale, and it is genuinely all going to be over soon. But it's also weird that we're going back into hiatus land, and we're going back into like, oh yeah, we're back in the realm of just a lot of waiting and theorizing and discussing. We were just there, but now we're right back, trying to dodge leaks. If the last two are anything to go by, that's always
Seriously.
a fun time.
Oh,
what a world to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we won't have too much longer to wait. We don't know the exact date yet, but by my estimations, if it's similar to the last little chunk, we might get it as soon as April. So.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But when it does arrive, I of course will be live streaming at Fanimated Podcast on YouTube, and Jamie and I will be back at some point to discuss the final episode of The Owl House.
I believe there was a title confirmed. I can't remember. Do you remember that?
Watching and
yes.
Something.
Was it maybe Watching and Dreaming?
Yes.
Okay.
Watching and Dreaming, final episode.
Yeah. That sounds right.
I hope that's not ominous, like they're all just in their heads about things. Dreaming. Well, I don't know. I hope it's a positive dreaming.
There is a thing that popped up like last week where I believe it was Luce's voice actor said the finale is the most she's cried in her entire work on the show. And everyone is like, guys, it's probably just because of reunions. Nobody panic. And everyone's like, no, I'm gonna panic anyway.
Well, we do have a tendency to panic.
Oh yeah. Lord knows there's plenty to panic about.
Oh yeah. If anything, we'll see these kids do some great stuff. Maybe we'll see Camila use that bat of hers finally.
I hope so.
And it's going to be fantastic.
She did get to toss it at Kikimora, and that was great. That was very satisfying. But I want her to do it again. I want to go 2 for 2.
For sure.
Let's make this happen.
Let's make it happen. So thank you, Jamie, again for geeking out about the Owl House. It's always a blast.
Thank you for providing me an outlet to ramble about the Owl House. Is I think the better way to frame this. Yeah.
More than happy to. One of my greatest joys in life. And thank you all for listening. To hear over a dozen bonus episodes, including some Owl House ones, you can go over to patreon.com/fanimated and become a member of the Fanimated crew. It's only $1. You can cancel at any time. You also get to vote for upcoming episode topics and see the monthly schedule so you know what is coming up next. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Fanimated Podcast. And please leave a rating and review wherever you're listening. Tell us what you'd like us to be watching next. The music is by Jamie Krause.
Thank you.
And the art is done by myself. You can find me on Instagram at CanterDraw. We will be back in a couple weeks with a new episode. I think next episode is with Nathan coming back to talk about a classic anime, so stay tuned.
Oh, okay.
Stay tuned. So again, in the meantime, stay tuned.
And stay animated. This is completely unrelated, but just yesterday on YouTube, I saw a video pop up about Kingdom Hearts, and I love Kingdom Hearts, and it was why Riku is gay and why that's important. And I was like, okay, that's already a little bit funny, and I'm already a little bit into this. But then I looked down and saw that it was 6.5 hours, and I was just like, I love the internet. I love that people are this excited about this topic.
Oh, I love
this
it.
specifically is so funny to me, but also more power to them. I hope they're living their best life. Yeah,
absolutely.